Today is Tuesday, November 18th. I am Allison Johnston, a Professional Development Coordinator for Maryland's Developmental Disabilities Administration. We welcome you to our statewide nurses meeting today with today's topic of stress management. You can't pour from an empty cup. Before we begin, I would like to go over a few things about today's webinar. All participants are muted and in listen-only mode. If you are a nurse and using this class for credit towards one of your requirements, there is only one option to listen to the webinar, and that is using a computer or laptop only. You will not receive credit for calling in and using a telephone or tablet for this training session because we cannot track attendance on those devices. There is one handout for today, and it is located in the handout section in the upper right-hand corner of the panel box. Questions can be typed in the question or chat box in the webinar panel, and we will get to those throughout today's presentation. At this time, I'd like to turn this meeting over to our host, Kelly Jones, HSL nurse from the Central Maryland region. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed today's presentation.
Thank you, Allison. Good morning, everyone online, and good morning to everyone in person. Thank you all for coming in person, and thank you guys for being online as well. So I'm going to start off with just sharing the contact information for the health service liaison nurses, so you guys know who to contact if you have questions or concerns. I'm going to go through the announcements, and if you have any questions about the announcements, please reach out to one of your health service liaison nurses for guidance. So if you don't get something that I say or something I say doesn't make sense, please reach out to us, and we're here to guide you through and help you guys out. So, of course, in the Central region, you're going to reach out to me, Kelly Jones. My email address is kelly.jones2@maryland.gov. If you don't put that 2, it's going to go to someone else, and I'm not going to get it. So please make sure you put the number 2 in. In the Southern region, which is going to be PG County, Montgomery County, Calvert County, Charles County, and St. Mary's County, that goes to Michelle Howe. Michelle's email address is michelle.howe@maryland.gov. In the Eastern Shore, you have Ramona Bradley you should contact. Ramona's email address is going to be ramona.bradley@maryland.gov. And then out in the Western region, which is going to be Carroll County on out, you're going to contact Melanie Pepple. Melanie's email address is melanie.pepple@maryland.gov. So please reach out to us for any questions, concerns, regulation concerns, just anything. If you don't know how to get on the newsletter, please reach out to us. All right, so I'm going to go over a couple topics today, just some announcements that I have. All right, so we're going to talk about, now we do the RN-CMD and orientation, that 2-day class, 16-hour class. We do that on a monthly basis. So if you have new nurses coming into your agency, they can sign up for the class on a monthly basis. If you're already an RN-CMD and you would like to come in just to refresh yourself to audit the class, you are welcome to do that, and we encourage you to do that. So please come back through, audit the class, spend 2 days with us. Sometimes it clicks better if you hear it a second time, right? Because when you're new, you're coming in, you don't hear things the same way. So when you come in, you have the experience. So now you can come back through and listen to what we got to say. All right, so we encourage you to do that. Maintaining your RN-CMD and status with DDA. So there are a couple things you got to do to maintain yourself on the RN-CMD and registry. So every fiscal year, you have to attend at least 2 of the quarterly nurse meetings. So if you're here today, you stay here for at least an hour or so, that will get you credit for today. That will count as one of your meetings. So the fiscal year runs from July 1st through June 30th. So please make sure you're doing 2 meetings at that within that fiscal year. Also, you must be an HRST clinical reviewer. So as a nurse, you have to be an HRST clinical reviewer. So if you have not gotten access to your agencies or your self-directed individuals HRST, you need to do so you can get on there, do the training so you can be a clinical reviewer. So make sure that applies to you. All of our trainings are now published in the DDA Connections newsletter. So if you don't know when the training is coming, please sign up for the newsletter. You can sign up for the newsletter right on the DDA website. That's where all our trainings are published. And go to the, if you need more information about that, you can reach out to one of the nurses if you, the regional nurses, if you have trouble with that. But if you go to the DDA website, you go to you click on what's new, and that'll take you to where you sign up for the DDA Connections newsletter. Okay. Let's talk about HRST since I did mention it. So like I said, all nurses are required to be clinical reviewers. There are 3 trainings that you need to take within the HRST Act to become a clinical reviewer. So first you take the rater training, then you take the advanced rater training, and then you can take the clinical reviewer training. All of these trainings are inside of the app, and they are at your own pace, virtual online training. So you don't have to go anywhere. You don't even have to sit for a class. You just have to sit down and do the trainings in the HRST app. Okay. Remember, when you are taking clients on, remember there is no HRST review only. So you can't just do the HRST review and not do an assessment on the individual that you're supporting. So you have to do, if you're going to take on an individual as your client, you have to do an initial nursing assessment. And then you can do the HRST review as part of that assessment, and you can do a care plan or healthcare protocols if that is what is needed for your individual. But you cannot just do the HRST review only. That is not a billable service. So that is not a DDA service. So you have to do all of those, the comprehensive assessment, HRST review, and the med screening tool, med administration screening tool. So that is to be done when you are taking on a new individuals. Remember, the HRST is to be updated with each change in condition. So your HRST should accurately reflect the individual that you're supporting. So if your individual gets a new diagnosis, you may have to go back up and update your HRST. So you should try to look at your HRST when you do your assessment. So every 45 days, make sure it's current, or as their condition change. So if you know between that 45-day time that your individual had a major change, you need to go back and update that HRST. Remember, HRST should be reviewed within 14 days, not 40, that's NOAA, 14 days after it is updated. So if your CCS, the Coordinator of Community Services, updates the HRST, you should go in within 14 days and clinically review it. Okay, now sometimes you got to go back to the CCS and say, hey, this didn't seem right. So you guys may go back and forth a little bit to make sure it's accurate, but you will have to do that within 14 days. Okay. So remember, your HRST, your care plan, your assessment, they should all say the same thing. All right, so they should all kind of say the same thing. Let's talk about nursing assessments. So nursing assessments, when you do a nursing assessment, whether it's 45 days or however often you do, some people, if your person gets 90 days assessments or whatever the assessment is, it should always include an assessment of the person themselves. So of course, you're going to do a comprehensive physical assessment, right? Then you're also going to assess the situation in the place. So where the person lives, whom they live with, you assess all of that. So we're doing a whole comprehensive assessment. Like you said, when you come in the house, is it a trip hazard? Like, is the steps not good for the person? But all of that should be in your assessment, and you should note that. So if it's unsafe, you need to note that and let the powers to be know that. But you always want to incorporate all of those things into your assessment. You also assess your continued ability to delegate. So if you're delegating for someone, you have to be able to delegate, because part of COMAR 102711 says that the environment must be conducive for delegation. All right, so you need to make sure the environment is conducive for delegation. So if you're at a site and the med cabinet doesn't lock, you can't delegate because that's not conducive for delegation. It's not a safe place. So we need to make sure that place gets safe. Okay. Where we at? Nursing care plans. So your nursing care plan is your blueprint of care of how you're supposed to take care, how you want the DSP to take care of this person, or the CMT, DSP, CNA. But that is written for them, right? So that's different from when we worked at a hospital, right? Because the care plans were written for other nurses at the hospital, but these care plans are written for people who are DSPs, right? So they may not have the same level of education that we have, or some of them do, right? But we want to write it. We always want to prepare for the worst. So if you want to make sure you are preparing the care plans from a second grade to fifth grade level. All right, so think about your 7-year-old, your 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old. You want them to be able to pick it up and read it, and that's the level that it needs to be at. Okay, because people just vary in the education background. All right, so also in your nursing care plan, you want to identify the issue for having the nursing intervention. So what is the nursing diagnosis? So, you got to have a diagnosis, and then you have the intervention. You need to indicate what staff is to watch for. So you got to tell the staff what to look for. So when should they call you? When should they call 911? That should be in your nursing care plan. So we have to give them parameters, right? And parameters just don't mean the numbers. So of course, if it's the blood pressure, you're going to give them the numbers, right? The upper and the lowers, and when to call you and when to call 911. But if it's a condition, you're going to say, let's say this person has hypertension. Call me if the person is having a nosebleed, if they're having headaches or whatever. So you got to put that in the nursing care plan, because these people are not medical people that we're delegating to, so they don't know this. So you got to put that in your care plan, because all you really have is your care plan. That's what they read to know how to take care of the individual. And make sure you are training on your care plan. So you just don't write it to write it. You write it to actually use it, to train individuals or staff on how to take care of individuals. So make sure you're doing that. Evaluation of your nursing care plan can occur minimally when you do your nursing assessment. So when you come out every 45 days, make sure you are making sure your care plan is being effective. And if it's not, you might need to change some things. So that's how you do your evaluation in this case. Okay. Let's see, next slide. Vaccines. So we're in flu season, right? So we wanted to make sure that all of our individuals have gotten their flu shots, COVID shots, if pneumonia shots, any other age-appropriate vaccinations. We want to make sure that our individuals are having those. So we need to advocate and push for those to happen. It's a little late, but it's still time. So we still need to get them, right? So make sure you are getting all appropriate vaccinations for your individuals. Discharge planning. All right. So remember, discharge planning starts on admission, right? We've all been told that. So please continue to visit with your individuals that's in hospitals or nursing facilities. Continue to support them. Go out to see them. Just don't leave them there at the nursing facility, because we're still their delegating nurse. Even when they're in nursing facilities, we don't have privileges at the nursing facility, but we can go and visit someone, right? We can all visit someone. Before anyone is discharged from a hospital or nursing facility, if you are the delegating nurse, you need to make sure that their care is able to be delegated. So you need to go out and see them with your own 2 eyes, do an assessment to make sure they are safe to come back into the community under delegation. So you need to do that, because you don't want to guess. You don't want to have the hospital nurse tell you something, because sometimes it may not be the truth. Not saying that they lie, but they don't understand what we can do and what we can't do out in the community. So we have to let them know that this is something we can do or we can't do. So the only way to do that is to go out and assess. So please make sure you're doing that, so you won't be left holding the bag. Okay. Waiver changes. Now I'm pretty sure everybody's heard about waiver changes. So that changed October 6th. We had a couple updates in our DDA Community Pathways waiver. So now we have one waiver instead of having 3 different waivers. So there's just one comprehensive waiver now. So all participants are in that comprehensive Community Pathways waiver. Please take a look at the waiver. The waiver is on the DDA website. You can take a look at the new waiver. I think it says waiver 2025. So it's on the website. You can read through the waiver. If you are working in self-direction, there was a memo that came out last week about what you need to do to continue to be a self-directed nurse in DDA. So there are a couple of, you have to become now a DDA provider. Okay, so you have to get a provider and be approved by DDA. And then once you've done that, you have to be on EPREP to bill, so for Medicaid purposes. So if that applies to you and you are working in self-direction, then you need to do this process. So please, if you don't have that memo that went out, please contact your health service liaison nurse and we can provide that to you. You can also contact the provider relations, provider services representative for your region. I have them listed here. So if you are in Central Region, Mr. Patrick, you Goboja is the Director of Provider Services, so he can help you with that process. And there's his email address and phone number there. If you're on the shore, Miss Andrea Jones is in charge of this process, and she can help you with that. Southern region, Miss Kiana Blakeney is in charge of that process, and there's her info there. If you're out in the Western, Mr. Sean Haynes is in charge of that, and there's his information there. So if you need help with that process, these are the people to see. You can contact your health service liaison nurse, but we're probably going to refer you to these people because these are the experts on that process. Okay, so that is the information there. Upcoming meetings, we have upcoming meeting December 12th. There's going to be another quarterly meeting, and that's going to be on the topic of seizures. So if you'd like to register for that, you can do so on the DDA training calendar. No, you can't. I'm sorry. Back that up. You cannot register on the DDA training calendar. There is going to it's going to be in the newsletter with the registration for that. And the next RNC and D orientation, if you want to audit or if you have new staff, it's going to be December 2nd and 4th. Now that you can register for on the DDA training calendar. The quarterly nurse meeting, you can register through the DDA Connections newsletter, or contact your regional nurse if you can't do it. If you can't find it, contact your regional nurse and we will help you with that. All right, so that is all for my announcements.
Can you get a copy?
There's not really a copy of it, but if you need some information, I can give it to you. I can give you whatever you need. Okay. All right. So, Allison, do you want to take over the screen now?
And one more.
One more question? Sure.
Yeah. So monthly RM orientation.
Yes. The orientation is monthly.
Both not in person and.
So the orientation is going to be virtually only. It's going to be online only. Yes.
Kelly, so for those people that aren't here present in the audience, you might want to repeat the question so that the people.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you guys online. I'm sorry, you couldn't hear the question. So the gentleman asked, is the RNC and DNs that we're doing monthly, are they going to be in person or are they going to be just virtually? So the RNC and DN meetings are going to be just virtual. So they're only going to be online. All right, so that's a 2-day course. It's going to be online both days. All right. All right. So now we're going to have your speaker, Miss Adrienne Holloman, who is the Director of Nursing for DDA. And she's going to be talking about pouring from an empty cup. Miss Adrienne?
Thank you.
The camera is in touch. Hey! So they asked about the question whether or not the CMDN class would be in person or virtual. I'm the only one that wanted in person. I think I like to touch folk and I like to be able to see folks. So that's why I'm on the camera here today as well. I like that. So that's my preference. There may be some, we've talked about doing some of the CMDN classes in person as well, going back to having a mix for the virtual as well. But right now that's still online. For those who made the trek, make sure you get some of the snacks and goodies that we have over there. So those who are online, we're sorry, but we had to feed the folk who come. But make sure you get all of that stuff, courtesy of the MRO folks and myself. We appreciate you and we appreciate all that you do. So we're going to talk today, and you're going to have to bear with me because in my rush, I have no glasses today. So I'm glad that I don't use a lot of notes, so that I can just kind of, yeah, we're gonna do what we do. So our topic today is you can't pour from an empty cup, and it's our pre-holiday self-care for nurses and anybody else who knows that when you're going into the holiday season, it's about to be stressful. Our lives be lifing on a good day, so you know when you add to it Thanksgiving and travel and family and gifts, children and New Year's and all the other stuff. that goes along with it, it gets to be stressful. And so we want to talk about what that looks like, because we have a tendency to run. We're the ever ready bunny. We just keep running. We just keep going. That on and on and on. But guess what? Somewhere along the line, although everybody said it keeps going, it dies. At some point, that battery dies, and you're going to have to replace the battery, right? And so we can't just keep going and going and going, because what happens is we are ineffective, right? We think we're still doing well. We think we still got it going on. We still think we're handling all the stuff. Remember one year I did it and I was juggling. We still think we're juggling. We got all the balls. It's all going. But girl, look at that. You done broke 6 plates trying to juggle. The ball's all out in the hall. Everything's all scattered. You don't have it all together because you're trying to pour out of that empty cup. You're tired, right? And so until you begin to take care of yourself, until you remember that you are your greatest vessel, this is your vessel. This is all you have, right? This is your tool. Your body is your tool. And if you're not using and taking care of the tool, it's going to burn out. And then when it burns out, the bad thing is when it burns out, it don't just take you out. It takes out everything connected to you. Everybody connected to you suffers when you burn out. When you become in a state of overwhelm or tired, everything connected to you is impacted. The people you care for, your children, your family, your relationships, your patients, your clients. It's not just you. It's everything attached is impacted by your well-being. We tend to forget that. We tend to think, well, I got this. No. One of my favorite stories, and we'll get into the training. You can turn to the first flip for me, Allison. One of my favorite stories is when, as a single mom, I had 2 kids, and they had all of their activities, right? They had theater, they had baseball, they had dance, they had you name it, right? And so I'm picking them up from school, taking them to the next activity. I worked in Randallstown. On my way, so I'm going to Randallstown. For those who know Maryland or Baltimore, I'm in Randallstown, and I'm going to Roland Park. And from Roland Park, I'm going down to the theater on McCullough Street, which is downtown. So I leave work, and I'm going to pick up the girl, so to get her to the theater, because after I get her, I have to go back and pick him up from Roland Park area, because he's got baseball. And okay, so here's the thing. So I'm running, I'm getting it done. Okay, we're getting ready to get off of 83 at Roland downtown area for McCullough. Getting ready to get off of 83, and it dawned on me, I ain't pick up the child. I ain't got a soul in the car but me. So now I got to go all the way back up to Roland Avenue to get the child to come all the way back down to where I was, because I got this. I wasn't tired. No, I was tired. I was on automatic pilot. My car knew to go down to McCullough Street. It just forgot that it ain't had nobody in there with me. And that's what we do. So I wasted all the time. I wasted all the resource, all the gas, all the energy. And now I got to make that trip 2 more times, because I still got to come back and get the boy, because it's not time for him to go yet. Right? Because I did not take the time to rest. Well, I don't have time. We do have time. We have to take the time. So our training objectives of today are to understand the impact of self-care on professional effectiveness, to apply those self-care principles to enhance client care, and to develop a personalized self-care routine. Because that's not on anybody's priorities list. Is that on your priority list? For most of us, it ain't on our list. Because on our list is, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to go to the care plans, I got to see these people, I got to get the kids to school, I got to do this, I got to get groceries, I got laundry, I got this. Nowhere on there is that self-care routine. It's the rare times that we build it in. Because I'm going to stop once a year and I'm going to go on a vacation. Okay, but you got burnt out 6 months before that vacation. And the next 6 months you're on autopilot. The next 6 months you're just cruising because, you know, I got to get this stuff done, right? So we're going to build that. Next slide, please. So welcome and setting the intention. This is our agenda, the professional impact of self-care. We're going to recognize overwhelm and fatigue. We're going to be connecting our self-care to the participant care. We're going to look at some self-care practices, and we're going to build your personalized self-care routine. So that's why you got the journals, because you're going to write some stuff down. You're going to write some goals, right, for your self-care before you leave here today. So make sure on your end, you've got pencil and paper, because I want you to make sure that you're taking a part. I want you to also develop your personalized self-care routine so that when you leave the training, you've got the tools. Next slide, please. Next slide. All righty. So you can't pour from an empty cup. You are here today for yourself. I know we're connecting it to participant care, and we're connected it to us being the helpers, and we've been the empaths, and we're doing all of that stuff. But you are here today for you. This is your time to pause, to reflect, and to recharge. While we're here to understand how self-care fuels your professional effectiveness. We're looking at that, develop that personalized self-care plan. I think I had that in there 100 times in case you all see it more than once, because I'm serious about that. And we're going to apply the self-care to enhance the care that you give. Because when you're taking care of you, you're a better caregiver. Right? When you think about it, if I'm not taking care of myself and I don't have rest and all my joints are falling apart, right? So my family has a history of rheumatoid arthritis and all of that stuff. So I had to remind myself that in periods of stress when I was younger, that I could trigger something that I couldn't go back on. Because once you set it in motion, it's in motion, right? So I had to be mindful, because now I can't run with the kids. I can't do this. I can't run if there's a code. I can't do this. I can't do any of that because I wasn't mindful of where my body was and what I needed to do to be successful in maintaining my health and my well-being, right? So how your self-care enhances. It's a bonus to everybody else attached to you when you take care of yourself. Next slide, please. You know, this is my favorite. If any of my self-care trainings, this young lady is on there. She's on there because it starts with you. They tell you on the plane, you got somebody traveling with you, put oxygen on yourself first, because you can't help them if you aren't strong. If you can't breathe and you done passed out, what happens to that person you were caring for? Can't help them. Put oxygen on yourself first. What is your why? Let's talk about your why. Because we said this is about you, not your participants, not your co-workers, not your to-do list, not your family. This is about you. What is your why? We talk about our why. The reason we do what we do. Does somebody have an example of what their why is? You can put your hand up, and Allison or will unmute. Not sure how my team is going to do with me unmuting. If you want to say something, or somebody want to put it in the chat. What's your why? All my helpers, because I need help. Okay. My why is to help other people. Who else has a why?
Good morning. My why is to maintain my own self and health and wellness so that I can.
Okay, good. Who else has a why? more in the chat? For my longevity, yes. And I want to be a blessing to others. Okay, good. So we got longevity, blessing to others.
We have Elena online who has her hand raised. You can go ahead and unmute and ask her question.
And you might as well stand up here and help me.
Well, I think that, Allison, did you unmute her?
Yes, I did. She just needs to do it from her end.
Hello, how are you?
Okay, so they said, I want to set a good example for my longevity, to improve the quality of health for others, being engaged. So one thing I want you to begin to do, a lot of times, and a couple of people are right on it. A couple of people have said, a lot of times our why is about helping others, right? I do this for others. I do this because I want to be a blessing to others. But I want you to shift the mindset today. I want you to be a blessing to you. I want you to be your why. And in being your best self, in taking care of you, then all those other things that you desire to do, all those other people that you're going to be a blessing to, all those other people that you got and you want to help and encourage, once you're taking care of you, you put yourself in a position to take care of them. Because again, if you're not taking care of you, you can't help them. How many times is it you watch the wife take care of the husband, making sure he's okay, and she's doing all she knows to do, and what happens to her?
Her hair falls out.
Her hair falls out. Her hair falls out, or she drops dead. She drops dead. Now how often does that happen? It happens more than we care to mention. Because she was so busy taking care of him that she forgot to look at the warning signs. She forgot to see what was going on in her body, right? And therefore, she's no longer here. So she can't even help the person she wanted to help because she did not put the oxygen on herself first. So let's begin by setting our intention. Next slide, please. So a personal intention is a clear and mindful statement about how you want to live, behave, or feel in alignment with your values and your priorities. How do you want to feel? What's important to you? How do you prioritize your well-being? Becomes your intention. So because we've been taught that it's all external and taking care of everybody else, our intention is not us. We don't set those intentions for ourselves. So we want to begin to look at how we align our actions with what you value. Somebody said longevity. I value longevity. One of the things that I say all the time is not all the time, I've been saying it for the last 5 years. I'm on the 120-year plan. You know how everybody said, God gives you 70 years and they're okay with that and they die at 72? That ain't my answer. That ain't my story. I can't wait till I retire and they die after they retire. That ain't my story. I'm on a 120-year plan. Why? Because longevity is important to me. Why is it more? It wasn't as important. Now, my great-grandmother lived to be 108, but I got to outdo her. Because she died when I was 40. By the time she died, my children had a grandmother and a great-grandmother and a great-great-grandmother. And we have that generational picture. My babies, my grandchildren, now 5, that's the 5 years, that's why it's now important. My grandchildren, the oldest is 5, but she only has me. She has her mom or her dad, because that's my son, and me. There's no great-grandmother, there's no great-great-grandmother. So I got to be around at least till they have kids, so they have a couple of generations. You know what I'm saying? They have a couple of generations in their picture. It's important. I had it. I want them to have it. So it's important to me. I value longevity. And because I value longevity, what does that mean? What are my actions how do my actions align with what I desire, what I value, what's important to me? So I'll give you an example. I have an aunt who has type 2 diabetes, and she has, her little monitor and her little insulin pump. She has all the things, right? And so we'll go to eat, and I'll get, I won't have carbs, and I'll have veggies, and I'll have this, and I'm doing all this stuff because my A1C was high. And the doctor said, what about metformin? I said, no, metformin, because I didn't want to start that, because once I start that, I don't know what other changes are going to be made. I'm on the 120-year plan, right? I don't know what other changes are going to be made in my body. So now I have to be mindful of what I eat because I value. And my intention is to do all I can to be here, right? Some things are out of our control, but the things that I can control because I value it, I now need to do it. Well, she's eating, she got the cake, and she got the ice cream, and she got the this, and she's like, oh, I don't worry about it because I'm good. I'm good. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I'm not that good. I ain't going to ever be that good. I'm going to do what I need to do. My intention is to be here because I value longevity. And I think it's important for my grandchildren to have me around. Right? And so I'm going to do what I can. My intention is to do what I can do. So let's think about what your values are. What do you value? And how is what you value aligning with what your actions are? Are your actions aligning with what you value? You say you value health. What are you doing for your health? You said you need to walk. You said last year, at the beginning of the year, that I'm going to do 30 minutes of exercise cardio per day or 3 times a week. You said that because you valued your health. Did it last past the 3rd week of January? Did it make it into February? Are you doing any of it now? If that's what you value, your actions and your intentions need to align with what you value. You said that your relationships were important to you, and you ignore the things that are important to them. Your actions aren't aligning with what you say you value. What do you value? And what are your actions? Can somebody give me an example? You can give it into me, the faith statement, in case you're doing it. I don't know you're not doing it. It'll be the faith statement. Anybody want to give me an example of what you value and what that action is, what that looks like? Anybody in the chat? What do you value? And what are your actions?
Kelly, there's quite a few in the questions box. If you can read them for Adrian.
Okay. Yes.
Miss Jeanette says, I value fitness. I walk 5 miles every day.
Yes.
And work with the trainer twice a week. Very good.
So her actions are aligning with what she said, with what she values. What else? Who else?
Miss Megan says, I value family. I try to be present every day.
Okay. She tries to be present. Presence is important.
Amy says, health, exercise, water, healthy food.
Okay. Healthy food choices.
Choices. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Healthy food choices. Someone else says relaxation, deep breathing, make family time. They value their loved ones. Someone else goes to the gym 3 days a week.
Okay.
Someone else says family, sit down dinner to discuss the day with families.
Okay.
That's how they connect.
She wants to say some.
Yeah.
Because I know they had
Okay. So mine was very similar to yours, longevity. I value building generational wealth for my kids and grandkids and generations to come. And so I create a budget, follow a budget, and save money.
Okay. Good. Good. So those are our intentions. So today I want you to look at the next slide. Oh, well, wait a minute. So we help reduce stress by keeping your focus on what matters. And the personal attention will help reinforce resilience and prevents burnout. So when you're in alignment, one of the things I believe I talk about somewhere on here is that when you're in alignment, when everything is in alignment, you flow, right? There's an ease to it. But when you're not in alignment, when you're not feeling it, when you know in your mind, because this is what happens. We're going to go back to that exercise. Oh, God, I know I should have exercised. So even though you're not doing it, you're beating yourself up because you're not doing it. There's a level of stress that you're adding to your life because you know you're not doing it. So when you do what you say you're going to do, then you bring an alignment and there's an ease to it without the stress and the guilt and the frustration of, oh, man, I know all of that, right? Okay. Next slide, please. So steps for setting your personal intentions. You want to identify, and we're going to take 2 minutes and do this now. You want to identify one area of your life that needs extra attention or care right now, whether it's physical, mental, spiritual, or social. And let's set an intention. In your intention, it's going to be specific, it's going to be something that you can do, and it's going to be written. So we're going to look at those 4 areas. So for all of those who had the health side, I'm going to need you to shift over to maybe the mental, spiritual, or social. For all of those who had the social side, with the family and all, I need you to look at the physical, mental, or spiritual. So pick one area, and we're going to set an intention. And so you're going to use action terms. You need a pen? You're going to say action terms. I will. Yes.
It's not meant to be funny, but what if one area is affecting the other area?
Her question was, what if one area is affecting the other area? And that's what we talked about. Many times it's not in a bubble. It's always in alignment with something else, right? So you may have to cross-train 2 of them. Like you may have to combine 2 for your one intention.
Okay.
Right? Because if I'm talking about health and fitness, and then it's stressing me out because I'm not doing it, then I've got 2 areas. I got the mental area and my physical area. Right? Or if I'm working so much over here and I have no balance, now my social life, my husband or my mate is now angry because I'll never see you, but I'm working because I got a budget and I got to make sure that we have this and yeah, but I don't see you. So this is now lopsided, right? This is now lopsided. Is a question? Okay, so mentally is your priority. All right. So what does that look like, Takia? Felicia? Felicia. I told you I don't have no glasses on. So what does that look like, Felicia? You said mentally is your priority. What does your intention look like for your mental health, for your mental well-being? I will do what? One of the things I thought about, I'm always the person, or had been, and so I'm working on getting better at it, but I'm the person who sees what you're supposed to do, and I'm gonna get it done, right? And I forget to celebrate the small stones on the way. I'm that person who has never attended a graduation. I attended the high school one because the parents made me, but I didn't attend the AA. I didn't attend the bachelor's. I didn't attend the master's because the goal was to get it done. And I never stopped to celebrate along the way. So I have the intention that I will celebrate each step. celebrate my small wins. That's my intention, because what does it do? It also fuels you. Because if you're always looking to the next, you never take time to embrace what is. You never take time to celebrate what you've done. The joy and the peace and the refreshing that comes just with celebrating what you've accomplished, you forget that piece because you're on to the next. So, Amy, are you the same one that said I'll spend 20 minutes per day relaxing? Are you the same one who did the walking for 3 weeks or three times? Or you do it? Was she the one that did the walking? You were exercising. So in addition to the exercise,
she's exercising. Yeah.
right? So she was exercising 3 times. Okay. So now, in addition to the exercise, so she's bringing the balance. In addition to making sure she gets the exercise, she's also making sure she relaxes. So, Amy, I'm gonna ask you to be a little more specific. What does that relaxing look like? Because to say you're gonna relax doesn't say anything. Because I could say I'm gonna relax because I'm not doing the dishes right now, but I'm relaxing because I'm organizing the cabinet. Right? So what does that relaxing look like?
She said, sit down.
Sit down. Sit your body down and cross your legs. That's what her relaxing looks like. It's the total opposite of what she was doing in her intention, because she was exercising what she valued. She was exercising, say 3 times a week. I make sure I walk. I do all of this. So her balance now is, my intention is, I need to relax. And so I'm going to sit down. I went to Punta Cana recently. That's what my little plug, my little place of refreshing. But I have pictures. And I tell you, I did get up. I did stand up. I did. But I have pictures. Every picture has my legs crossed in a lounge somewhere. The only difference is whether or not it's in front of a pool, whether it's in front of the ocean, whether or not it's in front of the beach, wherever it was it a balcony, I did stand up. But what was important to me is to sit myself down, because that's not what I do. I can come to your house, and just like I'm standing, somebody asked me today for the training, where are you going to sit? Oh, I'm going to stand. Okay. But why are you standing? Because I always stand. I need to learn to sit down somewhere, right? And some of us need to learn the same thing because we're so used to doing. So my intention is to learn to rest. And in that resting, I sit down and cross my legs and do nothing else. Who else has one up there? I chose physical and mental. I will
partake in yoga and meditation.
Meditation.
Meditation every evening to improve my physical and mental wellness.
Good.
Someone else says, I will increase my daily 30-minute walk to 45 minutes starting next week to improve my physical well-being. Someone else says, I will spend at least 30 minutes a day
in the reading
room?
In
my reading room, reading a book. Very good.
Good.
All right.
Sorry, question. Just letting you know.
That was
someone else. Okay.
And then someone else says, I will walk for at least 15 minutes every day, preferably in the morning or evening. Very good.
Okay. So we all have our intentions, right? Did I get any from the room? You know, I'm talking.
Yeah. When I get stressed or
Did we turn it on?
hello? I don't think so.
No.
Okay. Anyway, I'll speak loudly. Okay. Anyway. Okay. So when I get, I think I should do, or I'm doing, when I get a stress or frustration or get angry on someone because of something wrong, then I will do 2 minutes deep breathing, same at a time, and get calm and relax.
So what he said, if you didn't hear him, he says when he gets stressed or angry, he's going to take 2 minutes to deep breathe and to calm himself. But I'm going to add something to that intention. I'm going to encourage you to do it before you get angry. I'm going to encourage you that be a part of your day. That may be how you start your day. And we'll look at some of the self-care practices, because if you start from that place, it's, you know what happens a lot of times? If we're already stressed, if I drop this ink pen, I could cuss you out. Why you drop, that's not ink pen, that's not that. Damn, it's just an ink pen. I know, but I was already stressed. It started right here. So it's easy to go over the top when you're already here. But when you start your day relaxing, you can drop my pen and you can step on my shoe, and it's going to take me a little longer to escalate. I was just saying, I just had a flashback. I'm sorry. My grandbaby the other day, she was doing too much. You know how they get tired and they're over the top. When they get tired, she first knocked over the coffee, and then in the process of doing that, I'm standing at the sink. She knocks my phone in the bowl of water, and I'm like, sweetie, I need you to go sit down. Nan, I need a moment. Nan, I need a moment. This is for your safety. I need the moment. Right? So, but had I already been over the edge, that may have been a snatch. And they do gentle parenting for these children who are not gentle children. They're not doing gentle children. They're not being gentle kids, but they're doing gentle parenting. Old school, it would have been a snatch. But I'm learning what takes me over the edge. And so as I'm calming, right, I'm starting at a place where I'm not already frustrated, where I'm not already angry. And so therefore, I'm able to adapt to my situations better. Next slide, please. Any questions? Any thoughts? Yes.
I have been used to sleeping very late. I never slept before 12 and up to now. But then in my past, I would wake up early because I have to go to work early. I have to make sure I do everything on my plate. But recently I've learned. I'm going to get this one here when I use this. But recently I've learned to, because for some reason my body is not stopping to sleep early. I'm used to it for a long time. So I try not to wake up early, and I'll make sure when people go to work at 7 or 8, I'll make sure I start my work at 12 and end up at 12 midnight, since that's my body. So that's a form of relaxation, and I find myself more relaxed now.
Could you guys hear her? Oh, okay. Good. So she did the switch. She was used to getting up early, but she's now, oh, you could hear good. But she now switch. She gets up at noon because that works better for her body. She gets up later because it works for her, right? She was conditioned and trained to get up early and do all this running, right? But she's conditioning her body to what works best for her. And a lot of times we are changing. As we age, our body changes, right? And what worked before doesn't work anymore. And we have to be willing to adapt to the change. I know for myself, just simple things as taste buds. I never liked olives. And now at 60-something, I'm eating olives, right? I like tart. I never liked tart before. It used to hurt right here. It hurt, right? I'm that one. But now I can tolerate it. So what I do, I can now adjust to the changes, right? Instead of making your body fit what everybody else said they're supposed to fit. You don't have to fit everybody else's mold. If it doesn't work for your body, then it don't work for you. So if you had a job that said you had to be there at 7 and you're not that early riser, is that the job for you? Because you're not going to be your best about noon. So I did bedside nursing for a few years. It wasn't my thing. I call myself the paper nurse. I acknowledge that. But I worked my first year, I worked 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Mind you, I'm the one that gets up at 5:30, 6 o'clock every morning without an alarm. My grandbaby will call me at 6:30 and she said, Nan, I can call you because we're the only ones up. Nobody else is up. And she's right. So I automatically get up. So now imagine me working 7 p to 7 a. Well, my body is, I'm a sundowner. When the sun go down, you're supposed to go to bed. My body didn't understand that foolishness. I would look at my notes at 6 a.m. when I go back to write the note. On that page, I don't know how many times, you have one line from the top of the page all the way down here where I fell asleep. Because 2 a.m. you were supposed to be asleep. I don't know what I was doing. That wasn't for me. My body didn't work like that. I would be driving home. This is my last story. I would be driving home and I worked at University of Maryland and I lived in Woodlawn. I would be driving home at 7 a.m. and I would wake up about 5 minutes from my house. I had no idea. I woke up every time I got to Rogers and Liberty Heights. I have no idea how I got from Green Street to Rogers and Liberty Heights. That wasn't for me. I was setting myself up for failure because somewhere along the line, I was going to be asleep and total my car and me. Right? So you know your body. You got to work with your vessel. You got to work with what you have so that you're operating at your fullest and at your best. Next slide, please. Any questions? Any thoughts?
Thank you. So you said something that was so good. Like you have to be able to identify your triggers, and then also the fact that you have to do what works for you. That's why it's called self-care. But I also wanted to add, when you're developing your positive intention, and we write it down, we're very specific, but also having accountability, I think also helps along the way as well. So having someone to hold you accountable. If you are having a bad day, like having someone you can call before you like jump off the edge to kind of will you back in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We know your triggers, but accountability, and I think we addressed it somewhere else, but it is wonderful to have an accountability partner. But here's the thing. There are two types of accountability partners. They're the kinds that are going to talk you off the edge. Yes. There are maybe three types. Types that are going to hold you accountable. And then the other ones who admire you so much, they're not going to tell you what you need to hear. How often do we get that accountability? We know who to call when we want what we want, right? If I know I'm not doing the right thing, I ain't going to call that one that's going to say, look, girl, what are you doing? What are you doing? You said you were going to do so and so and so. I ain't calling that one. I'm going to call the one that said, girl, I know what you mean. Al, I was just thinking the same thing. Right? What is the purpose of your accountability partner? Use the ones that are really going to hold you accountable. Because I got accountability partners and they're not going to check me. Sometimes you need to be checked. If you don't have that self-check to do it, sometimes you need that check. So you have to make sure that the accountability partner is someone who's really going to hold you accountable. Now, I do also have those ones who will talk me off the ledge because something happened during the course of the workday, and I'm like, hello, you got a minute? I need to, before I respond to this email, I need to read it to you 10 times because the first five versions didn't work. So I need to read the sixth version to you, right? And so those people are also valuable. Any other thoughts? Good point. All righty. So self-care isn't selfish. It's a professional responsibility. It's your professional responsibility that you're showing up every day as the best version of you. The best version of you who can critically think, who can analyze, who can assess, who can figure out what's going on, whose discernment is on point because you got enough rest and you're not stressed and you're not anxious, right? It's your professional responsibility to take care of yourself. It reduces you being overwhelmed. It reduces the impact of chronic stress. It's going to improve your clinical decision making. It's going to improve your patience, your empathy, and your emotional availability. Because when we stress, girl, I just need to, girl, I'm sorry. I don't want to hear another nothing. I ain't got it for you today, right? And here's somebody who really needs your ear today. They really need your soothing presence or just your presence. But because you too stressed, you ain't got, I ain't got it. No, go. What are we missing? What are we missing? How many times do we have a client who may be at that place of suicidal ideation and we are not emotionally available for the participant or the patient because we got our own stuff and we have not taken care of ourselves and we've not taken a moment to refresh? How many times? How often does it happen? Right? Our self-care improves our physical health and our safety. Next slide. Being overwhelmed or burnout does not equal weakness. It's a system response to overload. How many times do we think because we can't go any further, we're lazy? I'm weak. Oh, here it is. I should have been able to handle that. I should have. That should have, that thing will wear you out. The shouldas, couldas, wouldas. That's you putting undue stress on you. Nobody else said you should have been able to handle it. You said that because you thought that you could do it all because you've done it all. You're always doing it. I should have been able to handle that. I should have seen it. I should have. No, take care of you so that your discernment is on point because you've rested. You're able to synthesize. You're able to critically think. When you're anxious and you're overwhelmed, all that stuff gets jumbled up in there. How many times have you gone back to look at something that you couldn't figure out the day before, but when you wake up the next morning, it's clear, it's clear. It was too much going on up there. You needed to take time. Take a second look. But that second look is after you've debriefed and after you've brought down the level of anxiety and you've quieted the noise. It's in that stillness that you hear the answers, right? It's when your discernment is best, when you're still. But we don't slow down. I can't hear. How you going to hear? You can't hear because you're moving. It requires the discernment and perception that you desire. Requires you to be still. And we don't like being still. How many times you sit down, I'm going to be still, and the leg is rocking. The leg is rocking. Be still. We twirl in the hair. Be still. There's the stillness. We're so used to movement that it becomes the norm. Just be still. That's part of your self-care. Realizing that it's in the stillness that you're perfected, that you're rejuvenated, that you hear. Your creative ideas come when you're still. Or if you're like me, when you're using the bathroom, there's something when you're releasing. When you're releasing, new stuff come, but it's a stillness. I ain't doing nothing else. Right? So, or in the shower, just think about it. When you're still. Then sometimes we play the music and we have all this other stuff going on. Well, we don't. We just shut it off for a minute. And take time in the shower and just hear the water, right? Be still. That's when your refreshing comes. So your well-being improves higher quality participant outcomes, enhanced decision-making, and retention and job satisfaction. You want me to say that one more time? Retention and job satisfaction when your well-being improves. Because then it becomes a mindset. And we may talk about mindset somewhere else, but when you are thinking about every day, here we go again. I gotta go in here. I gotta do this. Because it's an obligation. And you see it as an obligation instead of a privilege. It becomes a mindset. Whether or not I'm excited to go in here. I'm excited to go see my client today. I wonder how I can be a blessing to my client today. I wonder how their world was. How does my presence make their day better? Because your presence does when you're rested. Because I don't want the person to come like, oh God, here she comes. Because you weren't rested. Because I never know which way she gonna be. Well, I don't know how he gonna come today, how he gonna jump off, because they didn't get their rest. Right? So it's changing your mindset will give you better retention and job satisfaction when you realize it's something that you want to do, not have to do. Have to do's come with resentment. There's no job satisfaction when you resent having to show up, right? But when you're able to do it, because I desire to be here. And I'm going to be here as long as I desire to be here, right? It does a shift, right? So it's not, that client, I got to go over there today. No, what do they need? Let me see. Let me just sit with their stuff. Let me review. Let me see what I missed, because I really want to be able to help them. I really want to be able to make a difference in their life. Let me just think about it. Not, oh God, what? There they go. Yes, hey, right? It becomes a difference. You having to brings resentment and causes your resume to have, nurses in general, we're talking to the nurses right now. I don't know very many nurses who have less than 5 to 10 positions on their resume. Because there's this thing, I don't like it, I'm gone. There's another one tomorrow, right? So what's in that? What don't you like? How much of it is you? That hurts. Because I tell people all the time, okay, you're moving. Where are you moving to? Well, I'm going to Texas. Okay, you do know you're going with you. Right? You're going with you. So if this happens, every place you go, possibly it ain't the place. It's the you. So that becomes changing the mindset and assessing you, what it is that you're bringing, what it is that you're doing. How do you need to change your perception and your processing to make you a better you, so that you don't have to have as many places, but that you bring life everywhere you go. It says you can't give your best when you're running on empty. You just showing up and hoping don't nothing jump off, hoping don't nothing go bad, hoping it all stays quiet, because if it does, it's like, oh crap, here we go. Because you don't have it today. You walk in the door saying, today ain't the day. Well, that makes for a long day, because you're holding your breath all day. Just changing the mindset. How am I going to show up today? How am I going to be a blessing to those who I'm serving? Because I'm serving. This is my job, and it's paying me, but I'm serving. because they don't pay me what I'm worth. So you can't go by the pay, right? They could never pay you for all that you do. How do you pay for changing a life? How much does that cost? How much is that worth? You can't even put a number on it. So that has to be your mindset, that I'm here because I desire to be here. I'm here because I'm serving. I'm here because I'm making a difference. And then in order to make that difference, I need to show up as the best version of myself. Okay, next slide, please. Question?
The green one.
Oh, yeah. Somebody comment.
What's it say?
It says, yep, e-prep is stressful.
E-prep is stressful. So e-prep is stressful, that whole process, because change is stressful. We've done it this way all these years. Why I gotta change? You want me to change what I do? I'm still providing the same care, but now I gotta do all this other stuff. Why? So change itself is stressful. So the adaptation says, okay, this is what we have to do in order for me to continue to serve. This is what they require. And so I'm going to get it done. Let's see. I finished nursing school. E-prep has to be a breeze. I said for the state boards, E-prep ain't the state boards. So I can do this. If I pass the state boards, I certainly can complete E-prep. Folks who are not as smart, this is where we get into our arrogance. I'm humble. Folks who are not as smart as me have done it, so I know I can do it. Right? It just becomes a mindset shift and just becomes a break it down. So if you know that you don't do well in the morning, I probably would look at it at 7 or 8 a.m. But if you know you ain't good at 7 or 8 a.m., but at 8 p.m. is when everything starts clicking, then you look at it at 8 p.m. Goes back to assessing where you are, assessing your strengths, knowing yourself, knowing your triggers. Because if you're already tired and you're not a morning person and you look at that in the morning, it's going to annoy you. It's going to annoy you. That first thing in the morning, or at the end of the day and you've had a hard work day and you're trying to do e-prep, ain't going to work. It's not going to make any sense because you're already at that heightened level. You're already at that anxiety level. You need to look at it at your best, right? When it's easy, when you're fresh, when you feel strong, when you feel strengthened, right? Any other thoughts? Okay. Next slide, please. Do you all need a break? No? Yes, yes. 2 yeses. All right, we'll take 5 minutes here and come back at 11:25. Okay, come back at 11:25. All right. They had to stop me from talking so I could come back. All righty. So overwhelm and fatigue. We know that there are a variety of signs for stress and being overwhelmed, which includes your emotional, physical, behavioral, and cognitive. So, for example, we talked about the heightened anxiety, the stress, right? Your whole stress is like, everything is an issue. I dropped my pen, it's an issue. The button dropped off my sweater, it's major, right? Everything becomes an issue with our anxiety. You've got depression, which is on the other end, right? So whether or not I'm now to the point where I'm going to get into bed and pull the covers up to here, I don't know, maybe I'm going to go over here because I don't want to see nothing, right? I may sleep all day, or I can't sleep at all because my mind is running. I'm concentrating on what's not, right? That's the thing with depression. It's a sadness, and it's generally about what's not, what went wrong, what was bad, so all of that's running through my mind, and my mind's not resting, right? So whether I'm anxious and I'm not resting, or whether or not I'm depressed and I'm not resting. Because even when you're sleeping in your depression, you're not resting. You sleep for 10 hours and you're still just as tired. Because that rest doesn't come until your mind rests. They work together. Irritability. You know not to say nothing to her because, you know, she gonna jump off, she gonna be this, she gonna be that. Irritability, everything bothers you. If you're breathing in and out, that's annoying me. Why you gotta breathe like that? Well, I'm just breathing. I'm sorry. But you're breathing wrong. What's the right way to breathe? Right? Everything's a problem when you have that irritability. Mood swings. Okay, is this the day I talk to Adrienne, or do I wait to talk to her tomorrow? Because, you know, Mondays ain't the day for her. She's a little better by the time you get to Wednesday and Thursday. Friday's not so good either, but mood swings. Are you up and down? Do we have to try to figure out what day I'm going to talk to you? Because that's overwhelming for me. I'm going to tell you now, if I got to figure out if today's the day to talk to you, I'm generally probably not going to talk to you at all because I don't have that energy. I can't figure it out. I can't. So think about it. If you're at that place where you're the person with the mood swings, I need you to take care of that. I need you to address that. I need you, if it's medication, do medication. If it's behavioral, cognitive, whatever you need to do, figure it out. Because your children can't stand the mood swings. Right? One of the things that they have found in mental health is that the children of mothers who have mental illness do the worst. That those children of mothers who are depressed, they're in more drugs, they have more substance abuse, they have more alcohol, they have more depression, they have more behavioral issues in school. It ain't about you. How are you impacting those around you? If I need your advice as my supervisor and I need your input, if I come to you and you go, what? What I'm going to say? Those who know me, what I'm going to say? Never mind. Never mind. Whatever it is, I'm going to figure it out. But you just missed a valuable time to impact my performance, to assist me to make sure I'm bringing my best. So supervisors, be mindful of your overwhelm and fatigue because, again, your people aren't coming to you if they don't know how to take you. Your opportunity to influence greater outcomes is not happening because they'd rather figure it out themselves. And if they already got faulty reasoning, whatever they figure out ain't going to be right. I already don't know what I'm doing. I'm already confused, but I'm not coming to you because I don't feel like your mood swings. Self-care is your professional responsibility. because people are coming to you or not, right? And you don't want it to be the or not, because you said your reason for being here was to make a difference. But if your cynicism and you're sarcastic and you find something wrong with everything, that person who has low self-esteem, who's still working on their self-esteem, they're not coming to you. They're not coming to you. If they know you're going to criticize them for whatever they did, they're not coming to you. One second, guys. Questions, thoughts? Has anybody had the supervisor that they wouldn't come to? They wouldn't ask them nothing? Right, because they don't want it. If I've not learned, and we'll talk about some of our boundaries and some of our strengths and all, but if I've not learned how to speak what I need, and you're depressed or you're irritable, right? What's that going to do to me? It's going to shut me down. I'm coming to you because I need your assistance. You're irritable. Never mind. Never mind. It's your professional responsibility. Again, where are we? Assess yourselves, assess your triggers, know where you are at all times. Becoming the best version of yourself is your responsibility. It's not just a good idea, it's a requirement. Any thoughts? Who can I hear? Can you still not hear? Oh.
So someone says, I have had this experience of not
1 minute.
wanting to ask questions when contacting DDA in the past. I'm so sorry to say.
Ooh.
Well, now I'm open book. Call me. I would be delighted to speak with you. And someone else says, yes, I've had poor supervisors. Yep. All right.
And so now for those who are in this position, for those who are supervisors, understand, if you're trying to be a good leader, your wellness, your mental health is your responsibility, and it impacts those that you're serving. It impacts your employees, and the employees are impacting those that they're serving. It's straight across the board and trickle down. Next slide, please. So our physical signs, we talked about it, chronic fatigue. We talked about you can't sleep your way out of depression, right? You wake up, you're still tired. You go to sleep, you're still tired. You don't sleep well, or you're not sleeping at all. Headaches, stress headaches, migraines, high blood pressure, GI disorders, your autoimmune disorders, your asthmas, your rheumatoid arthritis, your lupus, loss of appetite. All of these are some of your physical signs and symptoms for stress and being overwhelmed. When you begin to see them, let's identify them. If you're on several medications for high blood pressure and it ain't moving, and they got you on the big boys, what else is going on? What else is going on? Right? How much of your elevated blood pressure is stress? How much are you relaxing? How much are you releasing? How much do you let go? Right? Because we carry it all. We're quick to say when we've had the massages, for folks who have massages, who get the massages, and they go, girl, I carry my stress in my shoulders. And that masseuse said, ooh, you were so stressful. Blah, blah, blah. It's all in your shoulders. So, well, why? Why are you carrying it? Why are you carrying it? because the time that it's resting is causing damage. The time that you're carrying it is causing the blood pressure to go up. The time that you're carrying it is causing headaches. Right? It's triggering autoimmune disorders. I talked about the rheumatoid arthritis. Stress can trigger it. And once it's triggered, how do you heal it? It becomes a lifelong process. Think about it even for those who are experiencing, who have a genetic tendency for schizophrenia. You see, I'm struggling, y'all. Yeah, I got all of the above. But what happens? There's an initial occurrence that triggers it. And then it becomes a lifelong process. How do we ensure that our mental health is always stable? Do we teach? Are we teaching our children how to be resilient? How to release? Have we taught ourselves, or are we teaching them, suck it up? Suck it up. That's why you're carrying it, because you just sucked it up. Next slide. Does this mean I shouldn't be talking so much? Cognitive signs are your difficulty concentrating, difficulty making decisions, making challenges. I told you I had no glasses on.
Decision-making challenge.
Decision-making challenges, loss of personal accomplishment, seeing only the negative, and constant worrying. That's the negative mindsets. So you have a difficulty concentrating. You're trying to figure out e-prep and you're stressed. Difficulty concentrating. You can't do it when you're stressed. Don't try to do that 1,000-piece puzzle when you're stressed. It ain't gonna make no sense. Wake up tomorrow and start it again. And like, oh, here's that piece I was looking for. It looks different now. Right? Decision making. You can't make decisions when you're stressed. And I tell you, don't make no decisions when you're stressed. There's an acronym, HALT. Hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. Don't make any decisions during that time, because they're going to be the wrong ones. Hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. You're going to make a bad decision. How many times you go to the grocery store hungry? You went in to buy $50 worth and you came out with $150 because you were hungry. Don't go to the grocery store hungry. How many times you've been in the wrong relationship because you were lonely? Like, oh, did I do that for real? What was I thinking? You were lonely and you made that decision based on loneliness. Right? For the challenges with decision making, when you're stressed, overwhelmed, and tired, seeing only the negative. You know, my favorite character is Eeyore. Oh my. It's a good day. I guess it is. That sun is kind of bright. Who wants to be with Eeyore? Who wants to be around Eeyore? Not me. Because Eeyore, you're like, well, that's not that good. Guess it's not. I thought it was fun. No. That negativity is going to roll off and impact everybody around you. Right? And the constant worrying. The constant worrying just leads you right back to the physical symptoms of the migraines, the headache, the high blood pressure, and all that other stuff. Next slide, please. The behavioral, again, you have eating more or less. My daughter and I use the examples, and I use it all the time. We're just the opposite. When I'm stressed, I don't eat. And she says she eats what I don't eat when she's stressed. So I lose weight, she gains weight, right? And we need to balance. Sleeping too much or sleeping too little, withdrawing from others. And this is a big one. Because when you're overwhelmed and you're tired, you need that accountability partner. Sometimes you need that ear. But what do? We withdraw. We pull back and we go in. And if we're already not thinking correctly, this does not help. Because now you're talking to yourself who is already off. Right? How much of that ends up in the suicidal ideation? Because you're talking to yourself who's sad, and your sad self say, I know, girl. Not, it could be better. Like, I was just thinking the same thing. We ought to end it. Yeah, we ought to. No, you need another voice. Get out of the house. Stop withdrawing. Find yourself a friend or friends. When your friends call you, I'm talking to myself now. When your friends call you, get out of the house. It don't have to be all the time. If anybody's seen the TikTok guy who's the introvert, it's hilarious. I guess it's hilarious for me because I'm the introverted extrovert. And so it's like, I want to go out, but then I don't want to go out. I want to go out, but don't call me though. Don't call me though. But if you call me, I think I'm going to go, but no, you're going to have to leave the house. You're going to have to leave the house. Stop withdrawing. Reach out when you need to. Just being in the company of people will lift your mood. Somebody else may have a word that encourages you because you reached out to talk to somebody. And I'm not telling you to talk to ChatGPT for chat. We all now getting our therapy from ChatGPT. No, you need a person. You need to talk to people, flesh and blood. Also, procrastinating, neglecting responsibilities. I like to say about procrastination is you didn't just quit. Like, oh, I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to not do it. Right? So you procrastinate. It's on the shelf. You're going to get back to it. I call procrastination slow quitting because you still quit. You ain't getting it done. Right? So that's just slow quitting. No, you quit. It's up there on the shelf. 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year. How many people got things on the shelf for 4 years and counting? Right. So you quit it. Honest, you did. Or neglecting your responsibilities because you don't want to see them. The fact that they're there, they're presenting themselves, says you haven't done it, and the shoulda, coulda, woulda's kicked in, and it causes more stress because you haven't done it. Alcohol, cigarettes, drugs to relax. I'm just going to do my 1 glass of wine at the end of the day. It just so happens that my glass is a 2-liter bottle. It started as 1 glass, 1 little glass, but now my glass is this big. Right? Right. Because I'm using it to cope because I'm not releasing. I'm using it to cope because I've not put my intentions down. I'm using this stuff to cope because I'm not addressing the issues, what's on the table and how to take care of me. Right? Nervous habits, nail biting, pacing, that rocking of the foot. I don't know where the energy is supposed to go from here, but it makes me tired. Right? But we use it to release. I don't know where it's going, but we have all of that. Biting the nail down to the fact that it's now bleeding. Right? Why? Why? How does that help? Go to the root. Go to the root. I'm a root person. The nail biting and all that other stuff is fruit. Until you get to the root, this doesn't relieve it. This just adds another issue that you're now stressed about because I can't get my nails done because I done bit them all down to the quick. Do you still say quick? Is that a real? I done bit them all the way down there, so I can't get them done, and I can't even get the other things on top of them because they're gonna be infected and all of that. So now I got another issue. It don't go nowhere. Get to the root. What is it that you need to release? What is it that you need to let go? Whether it's clients, whether it's relationships. I ain't tell nobody get rid of their husband. I ain't tell your wife. I ain't tell you do that. But what is it that you need to let go that's stressing you? Next slide, please. Next slide. So again, we probably talked about this, why it matters. When you're taking care of yourself, you're more present for your participants and your clients, right? You're more focused. You're more compassionate. I actually care what you're saying to me when I'm rested. Because if I'm not rested and you're talking to me, this is what I hear. Blah, 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 blah. Huh? Blah, 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 blah. How many of you know, how many have been in a conversation with somebody who just talks and talks and talks, and you're just nodding? And then somewhere in that blah, blah, blah is what you hear. They ask a question, and you're like, oh, damn. I mean, oh, dang. What did you say? You weren't listening. I was listening. I was listening, but I just missed that last part. So you're more, when you're take care of yourself, you hear better, right? There are less reductions. You're better equipped to manage complex situations, right? There's improved communication and participant trust. Your clients trust you more when you show up rested, when you show up focused, when you show up with care. When you said, oh, I like that dress you had. Do you still have that red dress from so-and-so and so-and-so? And they're like, you remember that? Or how's the picture? How's the painting coming? You remember that? Right? But when you're focused and when you've taken care of yourself, you have recall and the details matter. And so when the details matter to you, to your participant, those details also matter. To know that they're seen by you. Right? When you take care of yourself, you're able to recall the details and your participant and your client feels seen. How many of us want to be seen? We want to be validated. Don't act like you don't see me. Don't act like you ain't hear what I said. Right? We want to be seen. We want somebody to validate. And when we take care of ourselves, then we're able to show up that way for our clients. We have improved communication. We said that. Reduction in errors. The biggest way to make errors is to be tired. Like me at 2 a.m. on that page. Just one line through. I have no idea what I was writing at 2 a.m. Okay, I can tell you what's going on at 6 a.m. after I put a line through it and flip the page, because now we can't use that page because we got to scribble. So reduction in errors. How many times do we look back that we've missed something when we were tired? And because we don't have the luxury of missing stuff, our missing can be life or death. My missing something, my missing that I wasn't supposed to be on that night shift could have been life or death, driving home sleepy, right? Our missing can be fatal to somebody else. So we don't have the luxury of errors. We're hoping it's just a minor error that we missed, but it could be a big one. We don't want to cause harm. We don't want our fatigue to cause somebody else's death, cause somebody else's hospitalization, cause somebody else to have a life-changing negative moment because we were tired. And then our participants are more likely to engage with us. If they think that we care, then they're going to tell us what's going on. So they may just say in passing about the stomach ache, which wasn't a big pain, but it's been hanging around for the last week, right? But it wasn't a big deal. But if they trust you and they feel like they got your ear, they'll share that with you. And then you could have just stopped a major hospitalization, an obstruction or something like that, because they felt comfortable with you enough to just chat. Miss Kelly, you know my stomach been hurting all week. No, baby. Did you tell somebody? No, because I was just thinking I ate too much. But because they trust you, you now made a difference. Because you had a moment, you weren't tired, you just running in. Let me just get this note. But you actually had a moment to see them. Next slide, please. Any questions, feedback, thoughts? Next slide. Too true. Okay.
Someone says, when we are stressed, we can cause others to take on these behaviors because it leads to a dysfunctional team.
Oh, that's good. Yes. Again, we're all connected, right? So when we're tired, it can lead to that dysfunctional team. And the worst thing we could have operating in our environment is a dysfunctional team. We see it. We're not going to acknowledge that in some areas they don't exist. But that is not the ideal, and that's not what we want. So our goal is to build resilience. And that's the capacity to recover quickly. The ability of a substance or object to spring back into shape, elasticity, like a rubber band, right? You have that rubber band. When it's good, brand new, straight out the bag, you can take it and it'll pop all the way over there. But after years of use, out in the sun, out in the rain, you didn't take care of the rubber band, you pull it like this, pow. You all but knock yourself down with the pop rubber band. It's the same way. We're building resilience, and that resilience comes as you're learning your body, as you're building and successfully accomplishing things, as you're learning what works for you, you're building resilience. So if that means I know in the mornings I'm my best in the morning, right? I'm not going to take in difficult things. I have never, after I left the early years of nursing, 3 years, 5 years at the most, I think I did clinical. I ain't been at a job at 7 o'clock. I ain't been to a job where I ain't have to be there before 9. I'm gonna tell you now. Because the mornings is my friend. The mornings are my time. I enjoy the mornings, right? I get the most out of the mornings. So I'm resilient. I'm creative in the mornings, right? So I'm not giving anybody else my best time. I'm sorry. I'm selfish. But, so I'm building that resilience because I know me, right? I've learned what works, and I've learned how to come back, right? We had the punching bag that you hit it and it bounced back, and you hit it and you bounce back until after one time, too many hits, it's not coming back. What is it that you need to do to balance it out, to make you resilient? How do we teach our children to be resilient? Not doing everything for them, right? Even if you have new staff, how are you teaching resilience? Okay, if as a leader, I'm going to give you some advice. I'm going to give you some instruction. And then I watch you do it. And you do it, and you've done it well. And the next time, you don't need to ask, right? Because you got it. Building resilience. You now have more tools in your toolbox. Resilience is like all the tools you have in your toolbox. Because I know when I need this, I can do this. I know when I need to do that, I can do that. I know when this happens, I can do this, right? I'm building up successes, but that's also building my resilience. Because I know should the rain come, I know how much rain I can stand, right? I know that I'm not going, if you're asking me to go to some place that starts at 9 p.m., I know that's not a good thing because I've been up since 5:30, right? I'm the one who, as a teenager or as a young adult, was in the club sitting by the speaker, sleep, because I know it don't work for me. It's my bedtime. So I'm learning what works for me and how to be resilient. But if you don't ever learn you, then It's losses on top of losses, on top of losses, on top of losses, and there's no bounce back because you've not developed that internal strength. So every loss is not a bad thing. It's teaching you what you have and how to do it, right? How do I recoup from that? How do I change a flat tire? I ain't changing no flat tire. I can do it if I need to, okay. If I'm out there by myself and ain't nobody coming, I can do it. But I don't have to. But I know I can. What is your area of resilience? What do you know about you that you can do? Build that resilience, right? Somebody said the quickest way to get me to do something is tell me I can't. Or you'll never do that. Okay, watch me. Because I know resilience. I know whatever I set my mind to, I'm going to do it. You can't tell me I can't do it. Well, no, I can't be a quarterback today, but I'm going to get out there, give me the ball. Hey, Lamar, toss it over here. I got you. I got you. I may not be the best at it, but I'm not scared because I've built up that resilience to know whatever comes my way, I'm able to handle it. And if I'm not able to handle it, I'm able to send it where it belongs. If it don't belong on my plate, I'm good at taking it off my plate. Hey, oh, no, baby, that's yours. Here you go, sweetie. That's that. No. That's not. This is yours. Thank you. Smooches, right? I'm going to build my resilience by what I've learned to accomplish, but it's also in my decision making and in a mindset that I can do whatever I need to do. But I also know when I need to rest, when I need to refresh, when I need to say no. Next slide, please. So in building it, learning skills and techniques to build your strengthen your resilience. Learn how to address adversity instead of avoiding it. Don't be the ostrich that sticks their head down in the sand when the lion comes, because the lion's going to eat the rest of the body while the head's in the sand. Right? What happens when you avoid it? Does it go away? So does the time help it? Usually the time makes it worse. When you could have addressed it on the front end, you now have to address it after something else happens. Right? Stop avoidance. If you have that as a part of your personality, and we know we've all been through things, right? And some of us, our way of escape, our way at the time of the trauma was to avoid. In our mind, we checked out because it was too much to bear. We checked out. And when we checked out, that became our pattern of behavior. So begin to look at your patterns. Do you have avoidance as your pattern, as a primary focus? It should only have been during the trauma. It should not be your normal functioning. Right? So begin to address the issues instead of avoiding them. Increase your self-confidence. What do you do well? When I ask you that, everybody should be able to tell me something. Everybody should be able to tell me a whole bunch of things. But then this is what I usually get. I don't know. You don't know? So if you don't know what you do well, then your level of confidence is, because confidence says, Mary Jane told me this morning, you're creative. Yup. My name, Adrienne, means creative. What do I do well? You name it. I build websites. I do graphic design. I'm a seamstress. I'm a this. I'm a that. I do these things well. You can't tell me I can't do it well. I have that level of confidence. Right? I'm going to paint. I just need y'all to put that on y'all, my accountability partners, because all those videos of folks with the paint, with the rolling paint, you see those things where the paint is rolled and you pour it on you. I'm going to do some of them. I'm going to paint, and you're not going to tell me I ain't going to do it well. I can't draw as well, but I can do that because I built up confidence in doing. I crochet, I knit. right? What do you do well? I write. You got a list of things that you do well. If you ask people, your friends, they'll tell you what you do well. But you need to know it because that's building your confidence. Do more of that. Thoughts? Develop a sense of purpose. What are you called to do? What were you created to do? Every one of us have a purpose. Every one of us was created with a purpose. You are not an accident. You are here with a purpose. And the neat thing about having a purpose is that when you got here, everything you needed to fulfill that purpose was already in you. Who's Harry Potter? Nora, is that her name? The author of Harry Potter stuff? Nora. I think her first name is Nora. But she didn't realize that she was a writer till many years later when I think she was on welfare or getting assistance from the government. And she now has a whole empire of Harry Potter. She didn't just become a writer. That gift and skill set was in her when she was born. She probably had to develop it some, perfect it some, but the talent was already there. So believe me when I tell you, you already have the gift. You already have the talent and skill to fulfill your purpose. And when you know what your purpose is, then that gives you a sense of direction. You're not flailing. You're not falling all over the place. You don't have to go to college and have 10 majors like I did through the first 4 years, for the first 3 years or better. I started, and I don't even know what I started. I think I started in nutrition and biology and then med tech and then something else. It wasn't until I left the 4-year college to go to the 2-year college that I ended up in nursing. Right? So when you know your purpose, when you know who you are, it gives you direction. My son has never blinked. He's wanted to be an attorney since he was this tall. He did the 4-year college. He did the undergrad. He went to law school, everything without an extra semester. He did it all. Took the bar the first time, passed. He's never wavered. He knew who he was, and everything lines up according to that. Right? So when you know your purpose, it gives you focus, it gives you direction. So one of the things I want you to take out of here today is make sure you know who you are. That's part of your why, knowing who you are, why you exist and what you're to do. That lowers your level of frustration when you're all over the place. Right? When they don't see me. They don't have to see me. I know me. Right? They don't have to understand who I am. I know who I am. And I'm going to show up in me and be okay with that. Y'all don't have to know. I've said at many a boardroom and they don't know who I am, but I do. I know who I am. So I'm okay with that. You don't have to understand me. So when you have that level of confidence, you show up differently. The things that you tolerate, it becomes easier to do boundaries because you know who you are, and people can't talk you out of who you are. Your level of stress decreases because you're not trying to follow everybody else's whim. And because just think about it, when you're trying to be what somebody else says you should be, that's what they say about you today. What do they want you to be tomorrow? And then what do they want you to be next week? Their view of you changes all the time. And you're like a chameleon trying to, no, you know who you are. And you're walking in that strength. You're walking in that purpose. You're not moved. That takes your level of stress way down already. Thoughts? Seek support and utilize your support systems. Let me say that again. Utilize your support systems. For the folks online, utilize your support systems. We all on our own. That goes back to us not asking nobody for nothing. No, you've got a whole team to assist you. And how many of you use the team? How many of us use our team? The majority of us don't use our team. Because we're not going to ask nobody, because I don't know what they're going to say, and I don't know how they're going to say this, and I don't know what they're going to think, and I don't, you're part of my team. This is what I need. Again, in this age of the internet, we're so solo. We're so isolated. We're home alone, and then we're connecting on a global, but you're not connecting. There's no emotional connection, right? You're connecting out here in the ether somewhere, but you don't have that one person that you can say, hey, let's do lunch. Hey, I need a ride today. My car is, no, I don't know how I'm gonna get there. I'm just gonna cancel everything. But your friend would have taken you had you asked, but you didn't ask, right? Utilize your support systems. Set smart goals. Now, this is going to be what we're getting ready to do in a second. Where are we? 12 o'clock. Okay, I'm going to get you out of here in about 15 minutes. Give me 15. So your goals have to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time focused. Next slide. I think. Oh, that wasn't there. So we'll talk about the goals in a second. But when we're doing them, a lot of times, if I ask you, what are your goals? You've got some. And where are they? Here are my goals. And how long has that goal been here? 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. Because they don't get accomplished when they're up here. Right? Because they're vague. In order to be accomplished, they have to be concrete. You've got to break them down to realistic steps. If my goal is to be a billionaire tomorrow, that's unrealistic, because the Powerball won't work with me. It's just not fair, right? It's not fair. So that's an unrealistic goal. But if it says I'm going to set a budget, and in that budget, my steps for my budget are, I'm going to invest, I'm going to look at stocks, I may look at Bitcoin, I'm going to look at IRAs, I'm going to look at all of the things. Those are more realistic goals, but they have to be time sensitive. When I'm going to do it, right? I'm going to set my goals. I'm going to have a budget in place by Friday afternoon at 3 p.m. or 8 p.m. or midnight when I shut down, depending on my schedule. But I've got a time frame so that it's realistic, and I can now go back and check it off. Because as long as it's floating around here, anytime will do. And it don't. Right? So it has to be realistic. It has to be achievable. You got to have the steps, right? Communicate your needs. Again, being able to communicate what you need and your feelings, because your feelings are valid, right? However your feeling is valid, it's how you feel. I don't have a right to tell you, oh, don't feel like that. Those are your feelings. How can we tell somebody, don't feel like that? No, those are my feelings. This is how I've processed it, and this is how I'm feeling. And I need to be able to communicate it, because what happens when you don't say what you need to say? Somebody tell me quickly. What happens when you don't say what you need to say? She said you get stressed out. Right. You get stressed out. You're resentful. You're burying it. You're carrying it. I'm in my shoulders again. All my weight, I'm carrying it because I didn't say, hey, that was rude. How many times? How many times? You've got to be able to say what you need. People tell you, I'm not a mind reader. If you needed me to get those bags, you should have said, get the bags. Right? You've got to be able to communicate your needs, because if not, somewhere along the line, when we talk about establishing and maintaining boundaries, if you don't establish what your needs in, there are folks who are going to cross your boundaries because you don't have none. So if I asked you to bring coffee in the morning one day, and then the next day you brought it, and then I now expect you to bring coffee every day, and if you don't say, I am not bringing you coffee every day. I love you, but I ain't bringing you coffee every day, sweetie. I'm just not going to do it. If I don't say that to you, and you continue to expect me to bring it, then you've crossed the boundaries. I'm now mad because I'm bringing you coffee. Here. Like, I don't, why you acting like that? And then they don't understand. Why are you mad? Because I didn't feel like doing it. Well, you never said that. Well, I shouldn't have had to. Well, I didn't know. So you got all this miscommunication, all this anger, all this resentment going because you didn't say what you needed to say. So then when you begin to say what you need to say, that becomes your boundaries. Establish boundaries. Have boundaries for what you will do and have boundaries for what you won't do. What is your work-life balance? I will not answer an email on Saturday at 5 p.m. if I'm not working 24/7. If I have an on-call schedule that requires me to do A, B, C, D, then I will. But otherwise, do not expect me to respond to you at 5 p.m. on Saturday. Now, I may check my email at 6 a.m. on Sunday. Don't mean I'm going to respond. Don't mean this now, you can now expect me to respond. Here are my boundaries. This is my work schedule. When I can accommodate, I will. What are your boundaries? What are your boundaries for relationships? You've got to establish your boundaries. Otherwise, it causes you frustration. It causes you anxiety. Because when people step across that line, then you mad. Well, why you mad? You ain't tell me that was a lie. How I know that was a lie there? You ain't tell me. You've got to be able to communicate. And we talked about that, those teams that were not effective. This is one of the reasons the teams are not effective, because there's poor communication. Poor communication adds to that dysfunctional team. And it adds to your level of frustration, and it adds to your stress, and to your anxiety, and to your poor coping skills, and to your avoidance, all of that. Improve conflict management skills. Again, moving past avoidance. Be willing to say what you need to say. Be willing to resolve conflict. That's a skill, right? It's not always what you say, it's how you say it. Because I can say to you, I'm not crazy about that mug. And you're like, okay. Well, I can say, that's the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life. Why would you get something like that? Because now it's now judgment, right? It took a different feel. But if from you, you would say, your response to me would be, hey, why did you do that? Why'd you say that? You could have said that nicer. And then I'm going to remember how I should approach you, because you've now put that boundary up. But if I don't, I'm just going to keep going. And we know some folks, the more they push, the more you allow them to push, the more they're going to push. Right? So until you stop it by having the boundaries, then you're going to be mad. And they're going to be like, what? I'm cool. I'm good. Right? Address unresolved emotional issues. Address unresolved emotional issues. That's so important, because I don't know what you've been through, right? I don't know. I'm sorry, we're a little distracted. I'm sorry. I don't know what you've been through, what your story is, what your source of trauma is, right? But if you've not resolved it, then any little thing I do can be a trigger for you, right? I remember having one of my directors years ago. They used to start every meeting with a childhood memory, right? What was your favorite this when you were a child? What was your favorite this when you were a child? What was your favorite this? And after the fourth one, I said to them, I had childhood trauma, and I don't have many memories of my childhood. And so every time we start the meeting that way, that sometimes it triggers. And so then they mixed up the way that they started the meeting. But had I said nothing, who knows how far it'd have gone, or whether or not it would have tripped something, right? But I was able to communicate, hey, I'm struggling with this, right? So know your triggers. Know your triggers. If someone dismissing you is a trigger, then when they do it, you have to let them know. Then you have to address why is that a trigger? Right? Why is that a trigger? You may have to say to yourself, I know this happened and this is my trigger, but that's not what's happening here. This is not that. Come on back, baby. Come on back, baby. Come on back. Right? Know where you are. Know your triggers and understand why they are. And then begin to grow from them. Because what triggers your experiences don't have to be a forever trigger. Let that set for a second. It doesn't have to be a lifetime trigger. Because you're going to begin to grow from it. You're going to learn from it. You're going to heal from it. So those same triggers don't have to be a lifetime trigger. When you understand that, that relieves your stress right there. I don't always have to be stuck with this. I don't always have to feel this way because I'm now growing and I understand what it was, but this is not that. This is not that, right? Next slide, please. Work-life balance, being 100% present when at work and 100% present in your home. So it becomes more difficult when you're teleworking. So you've got your office set up in your bedroom and you're forever in your bedroom. So work and life is in your bedroom. You may need to put that office in a different place. Put your work computer somewhere different from your personal computer. Set it up totally different so that you have that space, so that you don't have the stress of always peeking over there to see what's going on over there when you should be right here. Right? Don't blur the work hours and your personal hours. We talked about that. Communicate up front. Hey, these are my working hours. Yes, I'm available if there is an emergency, but an emergency is not 7 days a week. Please understand, I probably shouldn't even get emergencies 3 times a week. An emergency is just that. Please understand, I'm going to respond appropriately, but these are my boundaries. This is my work-life balance. I am here on vacation. Do not call my phone. This is vacation. I don't think I have internet at the beach. And if I do, I don't know it because I'm not taking the phone, right? Learn to say no. It's a whole sentence. Can you do this for me? No. But why? It doesn't require a why. It really doesn't. This is a no. Sometimes there'll be a no. Sometimes it may be, depending on the situation, and you can explain, but be okay with the explanation, right? Be okay with saying, hey, I'm sorry, I don't have the bandwidth to do this for you. I already have this much on my plate. And we already talked about kicking things off the plate, right? I'm not going to be able to assist you with that. Or I'm able to assist you, but you're not going to be able to get that on Monday. I may be able to have it for you by Wednesday. This is my bandwidth. This is what I'm working with. These are my competing priorities, right? Or my favorite is just no. Sometimes no is enough. And people respect you. Believe it or not, when you have boundaries and you're able to say no, people respect that. Next slide, please. We talked about that. When at home or off duty, unplug. Maintain your time off schedule. Take time to relax. Cross your legs. Sit down. Isn't that what she said? Sit down. Do the things you love. Have you built into your plan doing the things you love? If you don't have anything that you love in your schedule this week, I need you to put something that you love in your schedule. If that's bowling, if that's crossword puzzles, if that's a trip to the ocean, if that's a walk through the park, put something that you love. Learn to say no, engage in positive relationships. Next slide. Positive mindset. We talked about the negative Nancy and Eeyore. Positive mindset changes everything. When your mindset changes, so does your life. Right? You are less stressed, you have better relationships, more success in your careers, and you live long. See the positive side. See that glass is half full, not half empty. See the opportunity, not the obstacle. Many times the first thing we see is the obstacle. See the opportunity in it. Be able to see the good even in a bad situation. Next slide. So for developing a positive mindset, you're going to be optimistic. You're going to use positive self-talk. How many times do you talk to yourself positively? Should be all the time. Not I'm stupid. How'd I do that? That's dumb. Oh my goodness. You always doing that. No. One of my favorite sayings is, I am amazing. And why do I say I am amazing? Because you can't say I am amazing without smiling. Try it. You can't. You're going to smile. What are you saying? Do you know that when you're doing that, when you're using your mind, here's the trick. Your mind can't tell the difference from whether or not it's real or imagined. So if you tell yourself that I am amazing, your mind is going about giving you the steps to become amazing because you said you were amazing. So when you're using positive self-talk, you are building yourself. You're building your energy, but your mind is giving you everything you need to complete just what you said. You know how we say that when somebody says you're dumb, that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy? Because in your mind, you believe that you're slow, that you can't figure it out, that you can't do it. All of that you've taken into your mind. Flip that script. Tell yourself what you can do. I can and I will. I am amazing. I am brilliant. I am strong. I'm creative. I'm resilient. I'm bold. I'm fearless. Wherever you're struggling, flip the script and begin to tell yourself just the opposite of where you were. I'm tired. I'm energized. Begin to flip the script, the I ams, the positive mindset, the positive thoughts. Include that with the gratefulness and gratitude. Because even this doesn't matter how bad it is. It doesn't matter what's going on. There is something that you can be grateful for. I don't care what's going on in my house today. I am still alive and I'm grateful. I can still take myself up and down the steps and I'm grateful. I can still see minimally without my glasses, but I can still see, right? And I'm grateful. There are many who cannot make those statements. There are many who cannot say what I just said. But even in that, there's still something that they can be grateful for. It energizes you. Release limiting beliefs. Release those things where I can't. Who told you you couldn't? Who told you you couldn't? You told you you couldn't. So if you told you you couldn't, then you can tell you that you can. Right? All of those negative things that hinder you, that stop you from doing the great things that you want to do, you told you that. You didn't go to law school because you told you couldn't complete it. Nobody else told you. And if they did, they were a lie. But even if they told you, you believed it and you changed the direction of your life because of somebody else's limited beliefs. How many times have you changed the course of your life, the trajectory of your life, because somebody else said you couldn't and you believed it? No. You're changing that today. You're going to get rid of the negative self-talk. You're going to get rid of the limiting beliefs, and you're going to use positive self-talk that will energize you. The negativity drains you, adds to your level of stress. Tell me I can and I'm overwhelmed. Tell me I can, I'm like, I can? Woohoo! Let's go. Let's do this. Right? Next slide, please. Okay, release the limiting beliefs. There's stories that you tell yourself that prevent you from taking the action. They're usually false and they hinder your progress. They hurt you instead of helping you. And they're developed from learned experiences and how they're interpreted. You know, if your mom was afraid to do anything, then she taught you to be fearful. If you were taught that there wasn't enough money growing up. You see money as scarcity. You want to do something, I don't have money for that. You want to do something, there's not enough money for that. You want to do something, that's not, I have to save. When other people who don't see it that way, are like, okay, let's see how to make this happen. What do I need to do? Okay, now if I do this and if I do that, and oh, I'm going to sell this on Facebook, and I'm going to sell this and I'm going to do this. They find ways to make it happen, right? So some of what we've interpreted, some of the ways that we behave is because this is what we were learned. This is what we taught. This is what we were taught. And so we've learned, we say there are generational things. These are generational behaviors and generational thought patterns that do not serve us today. If anything, they hinder us and they stop us from growing. So let us begin to change that mindset. Next slide, please. We're getting to the end, honest. Stress, again, I didn't get to do any of that, but these are some of the things we do. We do the meditation, we do the deep breathing, we do yoga, tai chi, hobbies. If you ever need to reset, like you said, do the breathing. You can stop, take 4 breaths in, hold it, 4 breaths out, do that a couple times, that'll reset. That'll cause a reset. That'll bring your stress level down. You have to try it. Meditation, one of my favorites is doing my favorite day. So I will sit there and I'll just talk about my favorite day in my mind. And I will see it. What happens when I get up? What happens when I now get out of the bed? And what happens with that? And where am I? What am I feeling? Am I seeing the ocean? Am I feeling the breeze? Do I feel the sun? Am I hearing the birds? All of those things will begin to calm you and bring you down to a place where you can breathe again, right? So develop hobbies. Next slide. Time management. Unfortunately, and this is what I say all the time, God was not fair because he only gave me 24 hours in my day. I could use 36 easily, but because I only have 24 hours, we've got to be mindful of our time. You don't want to be that person who says, I have to be there by 10, and at 10 o'clock you're calling and said, the traffic is really bad, I'll be there in about a few minutes. And the traffic is from your bedroom to the kitchen. You ain't left your house. How you know the traffic is bad? You ain't left the house, right? Time management. Many times those creative people, they think an hour is really 4 hours. So, oh, I got an hour. I got an hour before I get ready. And then they take on a 10-hour project. And then they're surprised that they're running late. I'm talking about me, okay? I'm talking about myself. This is personal experience. But then they're surprised that they're running late. Manage your time. Start your day with a clear focus. Use a planner. When we were 25, maybe we could hold it all in our head and we had it together. But over here on this side, over the 25, over the 35, 45, I'm 65. I ain't holding it all together. I got to look at my planner. Where am I supposed to be at this time? What day am I supposed to be doing this? What time am I supposed to do that? That helps you manage your time so that you don't get to the end of the day and go, what did I do today? I didn't do nothing. And now I got to do all this tomorrow. So now you've added to your stress level because tomorrow now has 3 days worth of stuff. And you ain't going to get it done tomorrow either. Right? So manage your time. Use your planner. Prioritize. Everything is not an emergency. Honest, it's not. Some things can wait, right? Limit multitasking, because I know we say we can multitask, but are we doing all things well or are we doing all things manageable, right? Avoid procrastination, delegate tasks, give it back to who else is supposed to do it. Let somebody else assist you. Learn to say no. Next slide, please. So utilize, again, your stress managers, utilize your senses, whether it's sound, whether it's smell, aromatherapy, your lavender will help bring you down and calm you, whether it's sound, music, touch, massage, acupuncture, the tapping, sight, my ocean water does it for me. Next slide. I'll go back for 1 second. I'll work with somebody who's depressed, right? And they'll tell me, I said, well, listen to music. Well, I was listening to music. What were you listening to? I want to go outside in the rain. No, that ain't what you need to listen to. Right? You're listening to music that's going to bring you down. That's not what you need. You need to change that. Put you some hip hop, something upbeat, some pop, whatever you need to do to change the environment. Your environment will change with the music that you're listening to, right? Walking, jogging, swimming, skating, dancing, all of that are good for your stress. It reduces the stress. It produces the feel-good hormone, and it works on the body. So that'll help with the blood pressure as well. Next slide. Take a vacation. All these are my vacation slides. That's me at the end with the feet. My best vacations, right? Do take a vacation. Self-care includes taking a vacation. However, whatever you need to do to get away, if you have to go to Ocean City and do the Holiday Inn and go to the boardwalk, it doesn't have to be expensive. It just needs to be away. Next slide. Do more of what you love. So, you know, the grands, spend time with the grandchildren, spend time with the family, gardening, cooking, whatever you love doing. Don't ask me to cook. That is not enjoyable for me. That is not what I love. That is a chore. So you will not find me cooking. But there are some folk who love to cook. They get the headphones and they get all the chopping and get all that stuff going, and they're like in heaven. No. The other one with the feet crossed, yeah, that's me. But do more of what you love. Whatever it is that you love, build it into your day. Build it into your week. Build it into your month. You should not be going to the place where you're burnt out and your vacation is 6 months away. I'm going to go in April or May or June or July. No, ma'am. No. Find time. Find a weekend. Find a day. Find some hours. Next slide, please. Building your personalized self-care routine, and you all are going to have to do this on your own, but here are the steps. Next slide, please. Your self-assessment. So again, you're going to begin to look at yourself. What helps you recharge? What drains your energy? Consider your physical, emotional, social, and spiritual needs. Ask what's missing from my day. Are you starting, how do I want to feel at the end of my day? Do that assessment. How are you starting your day? Do you start your day from a place where you're recharged? When you get up, are you meditating? Are you singing? Are you joyful? What's your day look like? How do you start your day? Or are you off to the races? You sleep to that absolute last second, and then you're running behind, and you're running, and you got the kids running, and everybody's in a tizzy, starting their day from a crazy place. Switch that. Start your day from a place of peace. Next slide. Set realistic self-care goals. Choose 1 or 2 simple, doable activities as a starting point. So are you going to do a morning stretch? Are you going to do meditation? You're going to do a 5-minute break? You're going to do a gratitude journal? Are you going to journal in the morning? Align your goals. Here we go. Align your goals with your actions as you start each day. So that way you're developing small habits that will create the sustainable change that you desire. Schedule your self-care activities. Schedule your self-care activities, right? They're not going to just happen because life just happens. So you have to be consistent and schedule them. Mix different types. Do your physical, emotional, social, hobby, spiritual, and set your boundaries. Next slide. So you're going to do this at home. So take a screenshot if you don't have it. Create 1 to 2 goals. Include the SMART goals. Make sure that they're specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-oriented. Go to ChatGPT, Perplexity. If you need examples on how to do SMART goals, I'm going to use AI. I'm the AI queen, so I can tell you how all the different tools out there. But just go and say, hey, I want to do a SMART goals. I want to do SMART goals. Please show me the steps. What are examples? And they'll do that just for you. Make sure they align with your work and your life schedule. You don't want to say you want to rock climb every day and ain't no place for you to rock climb because you already set yourself up for failure, right? Next slide. Questions. So that ends my training. Any questions for me? Any questions? Well, guys, I certainly appreciate your time. Thank you. You are more than welcome. Good presentation. Thank you. Thank you, Felicia. It's been my absolute pleasure to serve you today. I hope that something I said benefits you and that you're able to put it into action, make your SMART goals. We're not going to be stressed. What the old church folks say, I'm too blessed to be stressed. There you go. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you all the next time. Thanks again, everybody. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.